Hello there, you're very welcome to the Irish Independent Easter Monday review. We had one game at 2 o'clock, 3 games at 5 o'clock. I think there only is one place to start, Aidan Fitzmaurice. It is Tala. You were at the 2 o'clock game, so you're home. You've had time to digest it. How do you summarise Bohemians coming back from 2-0 down to beat Shamrock Rovers? Because I was watching this game on TV at 70 minutes. If you'd sort of gone out to the kitchen or headed off somewhere and come back and saw that result, you'd think there's some kind of fault with your screen. What happened?
I suppose a couple of things. Alan Reynolds has got an awful lot of stick in the last while, but decisions he made substitutions, one at half-time, Niall Morahan, and he brought players on early, and they all made a difference. Colin Whelan and Rhys Brennan, who scored the goal. I think Shamrock Rovers were a bit too slow to make the changes. Rovers seemed to be happy to hold on to what they had with the 2-0 lead and really sat back in the second half. And that's not like Shamrock Rovers. They've had these games before, and particularly in Europe, how to manage a 2-0 lead. They're very good at it. They weren't good today. Bohs just really got the initiative. But you're right, at half-time, I mean, I'm sure Bohs fans were, anybody who was there was some left. I'm sure some wanted to leave. They didn't see much hope. I don't think they had a shot on target in the first half. But a mixture of those, just Colin Whelan was very good. And Niall Morahan made a difference. And Rhys Brennan, I mean, he'll get the praise for the scoring the winner, but he did brilliant work to kind of cause Rovers a lot of damage before the first goal. So he didn't get an assist, but his work gave it to Jordan Flores, who put it into Ross Tierney, who set up for Dawson Devoy. So credit to the manager. Bohs fans haven't been saying that an awful lot this season, but he really got it right today with the substitutions.
So what was Stephen Bradley saying after? I mean, I think the Bohs angle is one, I suppose, of redemption, and we'll see where it goes for Alan Reynolds. But I'm looking at Shamrock Rovers, like on Friday, they're 2 minutes away from beating St. Pat's in a game where they played pretty well, I thought. And they've ended up taking 1 point from their Easter weekend. What was the vibe there?
He puzzled. It's a bit like a couple of weeks ago, Damien Duff was kind of puzzled as to why Shelbourne were playing the way they were, not hitting their levels. And you can see Bradley it's the same personnel. There's no injury reasons. You know, most of the players have come back. Danny Mandrew is really the only players out at the moment. They, again, have that experience of managing that Friday, Monday load, how to manage the players, you know, start with Graham Burke on the bench. They're just really poor, very open, very poor for the goals they conceded. From a Bohs point of view, they're great goals, but Stephen Bradley, with his coach's cap on, will look back and go, how did they get into those scoring positions? How come Rhys Brennan was able to get to the ball with 3 defenders around him? So I think there'll be an inquest. I think there'll be a look at their shape, maybe a look at the defence. And for the, you know, goalkeeping was a position that they relied on. You know, they worked hard to get McGinty in. You know, 5 goals conceded in a weekend, and teams now I think will see Shamrock Rovers as vulnerable. How to get at them? The Bohs were dead and buried at half-time. Bohs found it in them, so I think that's going to encourage other teams. So there's no crisis, there's no drama, there's nobody being sacked, there's nobody being put in the transfer list. But I think Shamrock Rovers do need to take a step back and see, how do they get here? How do they do that? To take one, not just Dublin derbies, but both games where they were in winning, to finish with 1 point from 6 could be very, very costly.
Yeah, it could be. The flip side of that is, Aidan, no one's making any ground, and that's and you have this mad weekend. I was at Talca for Shelbourne against Galway. I mean, I think before the games last week there was a top half, bottom half, and it's incredible that the 5 teams in the top half haven't won a game on Friday and on Monday. So I was here for Shells and Galway. I mean, the thing about it is, I thought Shells played pretty well today. I mean, you watched them on Friday. Damien Duff felt they played quite well in that game. I mean, for Shells and Galway, I think if you were talking about this game, you'd think this is going to be tight. These two teams don't give up a huge amount of chances. But at the moment, both of them are. Now, Shells look, they probably should have won this game. They're light defensively at the moment. They lost Cameron Ledwidge in the first half, which is a concern for going to Tala as well. So, I mean, that's next up on Friday. But they were, from their perspective, they were probably in control of this game at 2-1. And it's a route.
What I've seen is a lot of soft goals. And again, so you saw 4 there today. I was in Drogheda on Friday, 4 goals. And again, from a neutral point of view, it's great for TV, it's great for the social media clips. They're all goals there, but all goals are very, very presentable. Damien Duff used the phrase comedy gold to describe the 2 goals that they conceded to Drogheda.
Yeah, I will say that, like, it was just a route 1 ball over the top, just for people who haven't seen it. I mean, it was just a ball over the top. And look, the back 3, it's Mark Coyle switched to the left side. It's a bad header from him. There is a little bit of a patchwork element to it there, I guess, if Paddy Barrett's there, or even a Lewis Temple they might be able to take it, or even Ledwidge. I mean, look, but still, they batter down the door at the end. But it's just a weird one because, I mean, we'll talk about Drogheda and St. Pat's now as well, which is 0-0. Aidan, like, I mean, Rovers have dropped points that should have been punished. Shells have dropped points that should have been punished. You could say the same about Pats. Drogheda's still up there, but actually, no one's getting away. I don't know if you saw any of that game, Drogheda, Pats. It seems like maybe with all the drama today, it might have been the
I saw some of it, and again, a couple of shouts for appeals for penalty from Drogheda. Kevin Doherty might have a say on that after. Not sure. It's the LOA TV. It's really hard to see the clear angles. They will have shouts on Kevin. I think he'll probably might put on the whole thing about we don't get those decisions, and he said that a few times. That clever managerial trick of turning things around and saying, well, the big clubs get them. We're not still a big club, but again, I think he will see definitely Friday's game was one they could have lost. So they'll see the point at home to Shelbourne on Friday as a point gained instead of 2 dropped. I think the one today they'll probably see as another point gained. They're unbeaten in that weekend. And again, I keep talking about squads, but again, more minutes in the legs for Hui again today. I think there's no real panic in Drogheda, but St. Pat's again just knocked on the door so many times, had chances, put on Levy. They're trying lots of different things, but just didn't. For again, St. Pat's, that's 2 games from a bank. Sorry, 2 points from a bank holiday weekend that St. Pat's will. But nobody's taking advantage. Nobody's going on a run. Somebody said after the Bows game today, the Bows haven't won. It's a long time since they won back-to-back games in the league, and that's their next challenge. Quite a few teams in that position. There's just nobody. I don't think anybody's won 3 in a row. Could be wrong. Certainly, no teams are really going on winning runs.
Yeah, well, Bows have won 2 in a row, and they're 5 off the top as a consequence. But look at the last game. Let's go to the bottom. I mean, I did see the last few seconds of Cork City against Waterford. There's something about the shed end. There's something about a goal at that end. And for a team who was 1-0 down to a managerless club, I think he could have got very nervy, could have got very testy down there. And all of a sudden, you watch Kit Nelson bash the ball into the top corner, pandemonium, and all of a sudden, I don't know, there must be 10 foot tall walking out of Turner's Cross tonight.
Yeah, and again, a local derby, 2 teams in trouble, but also again, and I've mentioned a few times in here in these videos, but Cathal O'Sullivan, I didn't see all of the game, so he may have had a terrible game, but he set up Nelson for that goal with just a brilliant run and pass. And I've said it before and say to people, just if you get a chance, watch Cathal O'Sullivan. He will be playing somewhere in the second half this year. He won't be at Cork City anymore. He will be at a big club somewhere abroad, so just go and watch him. He is just sensational talent. We're lucky to have him in the league. As I said, that's me watching a few seconds of the game, but his pass to Nelson for that game, his run, he's just a brilliant player to watch. So when you have a chance, pay your money, go and watch Cathal O'Sullivan. He's brilliant challenge, and Cork will they won't have him forever. They won't have him probably beyond the summer, but he played a huge part in that win today.
Yeah, they're going to need him big time until the summer, particularly with some of their absentees. I see they threw in a new signing just before kickoff in that game, so they're desperate. But look, Aidan, thanks very much. I will say briefly, we don't really talk about the first division much in this wrap, but I should point out that I wrote a piece a week or 2 back about the title race being over already, and the Dock have hit the brakes now, and Bray are 3 behind. So that's something to watch across the season. But look, thanks very much for joining us. Another big round of games on Friday, and we'll be back with you to cover them. Thanks, Aidan.
Thanks, Tom.